X data and the Y data. So we're going to practice making a scatter graph to begin with. So we're just going to practice making a scatter graph on the TI-84 Plus, and then we'll just go through doing a regression. So to make a scatter graph, you've first of all got to enter in the data. So to enter in the data, we go to stats, which I can't see right now. How come I can't see it?
It's up.
What's wrong with me?
Down, right, up, up.
Oh, there it is. It looks different on the screen. Okay, so stat. And what would we press next? Edit, good. Now, what should I do to clear the data? Yeah, that's right. Go up to the title and go clear, and then what do I press?
Enter.
Enter, good. Clear, enter. Same with this one. Go up to the title, clear, and enter. Coolio. So now we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, or whatever your data is, 4, 5. And yeah, my float is really high. I've got my float settings high. 3, 7, 8, 3, 7, 8, 10, 12. So it's really easy to enter in the wrong number. Like instead of entering 12, it's really easy to by accident enter in 11. So or 1. So just check it again. Always check this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, that's really easy to type in the wrong number. Now to do a statistical graph, a scatter graph. That's called a stat plot. It's a statistical plot. So you might see the word stat plot in blue just here. So to activate stat plot, you've got to go enter in your data first, then go, oh, actually, first of all, in y equals, just check you don't have anything in y equals because that's going to mess you around. So maybe clear anything you might have in y equals from a previous question. And then go second, y equals, because that will open up stat plot. Second, y equals, and you'll notice that all of my plots are off. Don't worry about the fifth one. All my plots are off, so we want to open up plot 1. Are you guys watching? Open up plot 1, and we're going to switch it on.
I'm just confused.
Plot 1, switch it on. See how it was off? We're going to select on.
Yeah.
Select on, enter. So see how now it's on? And what's important is X list is L1. If it doesn't say L1, you need to enter in L1. So you would have to go second 1, because that would enter in L1. And under Y list, we'd have to put in L2, because it's X, that's L1, that's L2. That's where we've entered our data. We want a scatter graph, because see, you've got different types of graphs you can select, box and whisker, all that kind of thing. We want a scatter, which is the first one, the default setting. Now let's press graph and see what it looks like. It might look a little bit weird. Graph, oh. See, it looks a little bit weird, and that's because it's not been fitted properly. So to do a fit for a stat plot, you can press zoom and see zoom stat. Zoom stat's a really good one. So press the zoom and zoom stat and see it's fitted it beautifully. So if you press zoom, zoom stat, it's going to fit it really nicely. If you had anything in your y equals, it's probably going to be drawing over the top of your stat plot, so it's going to look a bit messed up. But that's why I deleted the things out of y equals to begin with. And then from that, we want to decide, do you want to do a linear? Do you want to do a linear model? Do you want to do a quadratic model or a cubic? What one did you decide to do, Lauren?
I did that.
Oh, no, which kind of one did you want to do?
Oh, the regular one.
Yeah, the linear one, yeah. So linear one. So we're going to now do the linear regression. Stat, edit. So we've already entered in the data. We've already done this. So now we're going to do the stat calculation. Just guys, so you know we're recording at the moment. Stat calc. Thank you, stat calc. So to do a linear regression, notice that the different types of regressions are all listed here. We've got linear, we've got cubic, quadratic, and if you scroll down, there's heaps more. Logarithmic. Which one are we going to do? We're going to do a linear regression. AX plus B. And then you've got to say that L1 is your X data, L2 is your X data. If your calculator says something different, change that. Frequency list, there is no frequency list, so I should have that clear. So if you've got your it's not a frequency table, so it should just be our X data is L1, our Y data is L2. Because it's not a frequency table, we should have frequency lists cleared.
I did it.
And that might be messing people around if otherwise. And then we go calculate, la la la. Here comes our model. Yep, so it's y equals ax plus b or y equals mx plus c. What's the value of our gradient to 3 sig figs?
I can't see. It's
2.1, yeah. It's somewhere at the front, yeah. What's our y-intercept?
1.7.
1.7, yeah. So, and what's our correlation coefficient, by the way?
What is it? Or what?
Our R value.
What are our value is?
Oh, you probably don't know what an R value is, do you?
No, we did it last
A
year.
little bit. Yeah.
The better the like.
So would you call this one a strong positive correlation? Yeah, that's a strong positive correlation because the R's. Oh, that's impossible. That's a good question. It can be anywhere from -1 to +1.
Okay.
So if it was close to -1, then it's a strong negative correlation. If it's close to +1, it's a strong positive correlation. And if it's close to 0, then it's no correlation. You can get weak and moderate. Yeah? Huh? Did you get the same answer?
You got 2.1.
Yeah.
Would be.
Yep.
Wait,
That's it. There it is.
I got 2.1, then I got 1.9.
I'm not sure, like, if you had it pre-filled, so I could do this at the Guys, we're still recording. Y equals, so what's our equation? Y equals? Hold on, 2.1 x plus 1.7. There you go.
Just put that in there as the.
Yeah, that's your linear regression. That's your equation of the line of best fit for that particular thing.
Isn't there something
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Did you get the same answer?
Yeah, but
Okay.
like to get the little extra stuff, how do you do that?
What little extra stuff? The graph?
Like in, so I'm.
Okay, good. Okay, so in case, notice that if your R or your R squared's not being shown, just try to remember how to put it back on again. If you go to mode, the quick way is to go to mode, and go down to stat diagnostics, and you want your stat diagnostic to be on. And that's a good question because your default setting on your calculator is for that to be off. So the quick way is go to mode, go to stat diagnostics down here and select on. And then when you do that, it should, and you do a lin reg, it should come up with R and R squared. Okay, full as well. So you might have noticed when I put things into the table, like when we did stat edit, see I've got lots of decimals kind of hanging over here. You don't need to have that, but if you happen to want to have that, you go to mode and you adjust the float. See how on my mode and my float, I've made it up to 9 decimal places. So in case you ever want that, like you would just go float and make it the maximum you could. But some people find it irritating, so it's up to you. You could always go back to popping it back to normal ones. So that's why I had so many decimals kind of hanging off the end of mine.